welcome to the Tea and a Butty podcast. I'm Dominic.
And I'm Erica.
And today's episode is all about the changing skyline of London. Yes. And we've got a list here from strawberrytours.com, which was like a little blog entry.
Strawberry Tours?
Yeah, Strawberry Tours of London. I just did a blog entry on it. And we're going to be reading out some of the things and talking about our favourite places in London too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because I think there's a couple of things on here that are interesting, and I think you'll enjoy this episode because it's a break from the football talk that we've been doing. Football, mate, yeah, you know, soccer. England, yeah, you know, because they won spectacularly in the European final. But yes, I mean, with London, I think that's your favourite city, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Ever in the history of the world?
Ever in the history of the world.
I mean, I like it, yeah. I don't know if it's my favourite. It's difficult to say, isn't it?
How can you say that? London's everyone's favourite city.
It's probably one of my favourites. Yeah.
One? No, it's the favourite.
I love New York City as well.
No, we don't talk about New York City.
I think I like London.
Get New York City out of your head.
I think I like London because it's not as compact as New York, so, you know, you're not...
Well, you're not on one little tiny island, except you kind of are because you're in Britain.
You're not quite so crowded or, like, claustrophobic as you are in
yes,
New York.
I mean, I guess so, because, I mean, it was, you know, it's just kind of grown outward, London has. You know, central London is very kind of compact, you know.
So what skyline are we talking about now when we say...
The central London skyline. But
all of London?
Well, it's kind of all of London, too. Yeah, because... you know, it's... Yeah, I mean, it's dating back from we'll start at 1900, you know, because that's when...
Because when I think of the skyline, I'm thinking mostly of, like, the downtown, the newer area.
Yeah, the cheese grater and the walkie-talkie and the gherkin and all that kind of stuff.
What in God's name are you talking about?
You don't know the cheese grater and the walkie-talkie and the gherkin and the shard?
The shard. I know the shard.
The gherkin. You must know what the gherkin looks like.
You guys, we have not actually spent, like...
In the city of London.
Really any time over there, have we? I think we...
Not in the financial district,
right,
no.
like, on the very edge once. And that's
on the very edge, and it was like, ooh.
I don't know why.
We couldn't go any further, because we might fall off.
Well, I think that when I have been to London, I don't know, that kind of glass city looking area of London, it doesn't interest me, because that's kind of like just any city anywhere.
It's glass. It's all glass, mate.
Well, it is, isn't it?
And you've got to wonder, what are their cleaning bills like? Think about it. That must be some glass.
They're cleaning bills.
I mean, you know, window cleaners must make a fortune, but they also must be having to do like Fred Dibner style steeplejack, you know, to get up. Oh, he was a steeplejack in the 60s and 70s, you know. He used to climb the old like factory chimneys to take them start taking them down.
Oh yeah.
To get them ready for like demolition and all that. And he'd climb up with no gear on or anything. Oh god. And they'd be like thousands of feet in the air, you know. And he'd just be like, he was like, oh, I'll just go up and I'll just do this and I'll just, you know, because he'd talk like that. And he's like, oh, I love this. Oh, I love this job. But of course, you know, there was just to demolish the old factory chimneys, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's a dangerous job, isn't it? A window cleaner.
Well, in central London, yeah, you know, because you've got to like do all that. And I mean, how high do you go? Because I mean, at the top, I'm sure they have like a bucket, like thing that slides down the side of the building, you know, that allows the window cleaner to go down and do it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of like you're on that tiny little like lift. Yeah. Elevator thing that's just being winched down, and if that gets stuck and you can't go back up and you can't go down, you're just suspended in midair. Just knocking on the window like, can I? It's like
those windows don't open.
Those windows don't open, I'm afraid. You're on the 200th floor.
But there's kind of two like glass areas, aren't there? There's one like to the side of the Tower of London.
Yeah, that's kind of like the City of London financial district kind of area, yeah.
And then there's one across just over the river.
On the South Bank.
Yeah, just over the river, like...
Yeah, where, like, City Hall and all that is.
just over the river off of the Tower Bridge, like all around, right there.
Yes, that's City Hall actually, where the mayor works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a new structure. I think that was built in like 2002 or something. Well,
I just mean that whole area. It's all kind of glass.
It's glass. Yeah, I mean everything from like the late 90s onwards was glass.
Yeah. But the City of London, now what you're talking about over by the Tower of London.
Yeah.
That really annoys me, the fact that we haven't gone deeper into there, because that is actually London, right?
Yeah, that's where London was born.
And I never knew that.
Londinium and everything.
And any of the times we went to London,
there's a Roman stone there or something. I think there's a Roman stone.
Yeah.
Perfectly preserved.
It's like the Roman city of Londinium, like you just said. Yeah, and I didn't know that, and I don't know why I've never been there, and that's very annoying.
It's very annoying to me. Next time.
There's there's like ruins there and everything, apparently.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Amongst the glass buildings. But I just never venture into the glass areas, because it's just
it's it's too much glass.
I can see that in the United States, you know.
I can see glass.
I can go to any big
it's too
city.
Modern.
I can go to any big city in America and see glass buildings. Like, I'm not interested. I want to see the old stuff. And apparently you're going to tell us about some old stuff. You have like
I've got
1900s.
Well, I've got the Oxo Tower, and I think one of our YouTubers recently visited there. Okay. The people we watch on YouTube.
Are you our YouTubers?
Yeah, they're our YouTubers now.
They belong to us.
Went to the or maybe it was on Instagram. I don't know. They went to the Oxo Tower. And it was built in 1900, initially as a power station to supply electricity to the Royal Mail Post Office.
And where is this?
It's in London. It's I don't exactly know where it is, because I mean I've just copy and pasted this little article.
You don't have a map. Okay, fine. We'll just have to use our imagination.
I mean, people know where the Oxo Tower is. They'll know.
This is podcasting anyway. You wouldn't be able to see if we told you. So just look it up, okay? Just use Google.
In the 1920s, it was acquired for the production of the Oxo stock cubes, hence the name change.
Okay.
And it's, because you don't know what Oxo cubes are.
Really.
Oxo, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah, okay.
When I was a kid, Linda Bellingham used to do the adverts, and there was the famous brand of stock cubes. And Oxo, the company, also wanted the tower to include illuminated lights bearing the name of the product, but when permission was denied, they ingeniously installed 3 large vertical windows, one in the shape of a circle, one of a cross, and another circle spelling out Oxo. So, if it lit from the inside, it looks like Oxo, and it's still on there today.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the building contains a series of arts and crafts shops, as well as 2 art galleries and a rooftop restaurant. Oxo doesn't own it anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's those kind of like old buildings from 1900 that have been repurposed. Yeah, so one of the people we watch on YouTube visited there, and it's it's around Shoreditch area, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think, but it could be on the South Bank. I mean, I'm not particularly.
Google it.
You can Google it. You have that thing. You can't get all your information from us. We can't tell you everything.
They can Google.
We can't tell you everything.
Listen.
Yes, maybe you are. Maybe you're googling it. Like, oh, it's there. Oh, okay. The next one.
The miracle of podcasting. They can keep listening as they Google.
Absolute miracle, everyone.
Whereas watching a video, they have to pause, don't they?
They have to pause it, or maybe they'll just tab out of it and do it, and it just keeps going. Which is maybe what you've done. I don't know. The next one is Wembley Stadium. It was built in 1923.
We're not gonna talk about soccer anymore.
It's so funny because this is another iconic. Like it had it wasn't one of the tallest. It wasn't one of the tallest structures in London.
When was this built?
1923.
Okay.
And it was iconic because it had the iconic Twin Towers, at the entrance.
Okay.
It had the flags on top and everything like that.
Has it been refurbished since then?
It's been demolished and rebuilt.
Oh, okay,
the new Wembley was started in 2003, and I think it finished in 2007.
I was like, wow.
It's got a massive arch now. But yeah, no, the old Wembley Stadium had these two, you know, the...
It was probably smaller, I'm guessing.
Oh, it was much smaller.
Yeah,
it was like, and that's where, you know, Pele, possibly the best player in the world, he played for Brazil. He described Wembley as the cathedral of football. And, you know, it's been home to, I mean, the 1966 World Cup final was held there, where England won, which, you know, it'll be another 55 years before we win anything again. But it's just like, you know, that's, it was the home of the England national football team from 1923 until 2000. I don't know if it is still. I mean, I'm imagining it is now because, you know, they had to rebuild it, you know, so it's new, and they've got this massive arch that goes over it now. I don't know if you've seen. It's like that's you know, because it was just like everybody was like, oh no, you're going to demolish the Twin Towers of, you know. Yeah.
Where is Wembley Stadium though?
I know where it is. It's in Wembley in London.
Well, where is that?
It's south, kind of South London.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's south of the river.
South of the river.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm visualizing where everything is in London on the tube map, and I know there's like a Wembley thing, because Wembley's an area, you know. It's not just because of the stadium.
It's over by Chelsea somewhere. Okay, we don't know.
It's Google. It's more just like South London.
Yeah.
I mean, it's its own area in its own right, you know. The BT Tower in 1964.
Yeah.
You've seen that. They used to call it the Post Office Tower. That's what it was originally built for.
Yeah.
It's now the BT Tower because British Telecom own it. That was like that towered over everything in London. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing in London because...
Yeah. That was the tallest structure.
There was Victorian building restrictions were eased in the 60s.
Okay, yeah.
And...
That's a shame.
The first real high-rise buildings began to take shape.
Yeah.
And it was kick-started by the Post Office Tower. And it stood at 191 meters, that's 627 feet, and it towered over anything else at the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, as everybody knows, the Post Office Tower, or the BT Tower as it was known. And it's something that was when everyone was like, okay, you know, because I don't know what the Victorians, they was like, oh, we're not building those huge skyscrapers like they have in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, let's do it. You know, let's do it. We haven't got that much room.
We can't keep building out. We have to build up. Yeah. I understand. At the same time, it's a shame, isn't it? Because it, you know, Because for an American like me, I want to go to London and see old buildings. I don't want to see the same kind of crap I can see here.
I don't want to see that crap.
I don't care if it's shaped like a gherkin or if it's shaped like a whatever, you know. If it's shaped like a toe, I don't care.
Oh, you know? That's the next one going up.
It's my big toe.
Yeah, your big toe. It's just going to be your big toe. It's just like, my toe. That's my toe.
That toe building over there.
And it's all made of glass.
You know, it's just like, yeah. I mean, they try to go, oh, aren't they impressive? They're so impressive. I don't find them that impressive. I'd rather look at an old, like, building from the 1800s with all the, you know, intricate carvings up the corners.
Yeah.
And, you know, all the decorations and, you know, whatever. I'd rather look at that than some big old glass, you know, rectangle.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
Big old glass rectangle,
Not
big old
into
glass cube.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Not into it.
And I mean, when the 60s happened, that was kind of like the death knell for anything being built that had any kind of like architectural significance.
Yeah.
They're what they call the brutalist period.
Yeah.
In the 70s especially, they were just, oh, okay, you know, we'll just build up these huge high-rise buildings and they're just like concrete and...
Not attractive
whatsoever. Yeah. And, you know, it was just a case of like, oh yeah, just build up these high-rises.
And it's like, I have to wonder, like, did people find
the
them
NatWest
attractive?
Tower, banks were building these huge
BT
things.
Tower, it's not attractive either, is it? It's it's cylinder.
It's a cylinder that's, you know...
Got like a spaceship at the top.
It's got like... Because I mean, I don't know what it does. I don't know what it does now, actually. Because I mean, it was to like telephones all across the UK. It was like signals and I think radio and everything like that. Now it's kind of like, what does it do? I don't know. I have to look that up.
What's it good for?
There you go. You can Google what does the BT Tower actually do now, because I mean, I think it just has like a neon kind of like thing on it, and that's about it.
We're like teachers now, just assigning you all sorts of tasks.
Yes.
Homework.
And I mean, in the 70s, that brutalist architecture, high-rise estates started happening.
The 60s and 70s and 80s were just terrible time
for architecture. Great time for a lot of for like popular culture.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, but yeah, everybody was just like, okay, let's just start building up these things and just get as much money as we can, And which happened like with like the NatWest Tower, which is now known as Tower 42, and it's got a restaurant and everything, and everything. But that used to be like a bank tower. All the banks started building higher and higher.
Gee, wonder where they got the money from.
Where did they get the money from? We'll have to find out about that, won't we? Shakespeare's Globe in 1997.
Yeah,
he was revived. And he went and said, I want to rebuild. We will rebuild.
I think it's a bit crazy for, for
it's
Americans,
small.
For other people to realize that it wasn't, I think we all know that it's not original.
It is not original, and it's by no means an exact replica of it.
I think the general thought is that it was rebuilt much, much longer ago than 1997.
What happened was the Globe Theatre, which was Shakespeare's Globe Theatre, we put on all his plays, it was destroyed by fire in 1613.
Right.
Then it was rebuilt and demolished again in 1644.
Yeah.
And the new one, which, I don't know how long it took to build, but it's not exactly on the same old site, it's about 230 meters away. And it's just basically to host the works of Shakespeare and, just to get people
Is that all that plays there?
I think it's all that plays there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because, he's got a lot, he wrote a lot of stuff, Shakespeare. Not just the big ones, like Romeo and Juliet and Midsummer Night's Dream and all that.
That it was a theater that put on all sorts of different shows.
I think they're starting to expand that a little bit now, but I think when it opened up again in the late 90s, it was just all Shakespeare all the time. It's just like, it's like one of those channels. It's like all Shakespeare all the time. The RSC lives here. That's all. Hamlet
channel.
Henry V, everything. As You Like It, even that little note that he wrote, we're just playing that too.
I just find it quite surprising it was not rebuilt until 1997. I would have definitely thought that it's been there at least since the late 1800s.
I think,
you would have thought sometime in the 1800s they would have gone, you know what? Or like maybe the turn of the century or something, But
that's Shakespeare. We should rebuild the Globe, shouldn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, that's...
he didn't come back into fashion until 1997.
Yeah, everybody was just
like, a long time.
Kenneth Branagh brought him back, didn't he?
Yes.
He thought he was Shakespeare, didn't he?
God, that would be crazy if it was Kenneth Branagh who funded the Shakespeare.
He probably had a hand in it.
We should rebuild Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. But I don't know how people in London feel about it. But I think people think it's pretty cool. I think tourists, anyway,
It's for the tourists.
So I think it was a good idea.
It's for the Shakespeare fans.
Yeah.
And, they people in London probably go like, oh, wow, this has been here since Shakespeare's time? Like, yeah, it has. It's like he stood right there,
Yeah.
He stood right there and he said, to be or not to be,
Yeah.
That was him, wasn't it?
Yes. That was him.
For some reason, I keep thinking of Charles Dickens.
Oh, no. Shakespeare.
But yeah, Charles Dickens, Shakespeare, I get them confused. I could go to like all playing of Oliver the Twist and think, oh yeah, Oliver Twist. That was written by Shakespeare, wasn't it? The next one we've got on here is the London Eye, which was finished in 1999, just in time for the millennium.
Yeah.
It was originally called the Millennium Wheel. And at that point...
Was it the first one? Because now they have those in pretty much all the big cities across the world.
I don't think it was the first one. I think Vegas probably had one, or Paris.
I don't know.
So like this, I can imagine so, because Ferris wheels are like state fair things,
yeah,
aren't
but
they?
I mean that bit, like a big one like that. I mean, obviously Ferris wheels exist everywhere, but...
The London Eye is one of the world's biggest Ferris wheels. It stands at 135 meters.
I guess that information would have said it was the first, wouldn't it have?
Yeah. And I mean, it was the highest public viewing until the Shard overtook every other structure in 2013. It was the highest public viewing point in the city, but it's still the most popular.
I know.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah, tourists.
Tourists, oh my god! I mean, we've never been on it.
No,
we've been next to it. We've seen it.
I've never really wanted to go.
And it's kind of like it's a slow-moving kind of thing. It's just like, oh yeah, we'll go to London and we'll go to London Eye, and that'll be it. That's all we'll see. And it's like, no, I'd much rather be. I saw London from the air coming from the plane.
Yeah.
I don't really particularly want to like look at that. And if I do, I'll just go to the Shard's rooftop garden, or the Sky Garden, or whatever it is.
I mean, I get it, because I've been to the top of the Empire State Building, and that is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, looking out over it, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I'm quite happy just like crossing the river and seeing kind of the skyline from across the river. You know what I mean? Either one side or the other. It looks pretty. That's a pretty good vantage point of London. You can't see the roofs of everything from across the river, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just not. It's never been something that's been on my list.
I've seen like when I used to watch those like Americans visiting London for the first time or whatever, and they go on this on the London Eye. And they'd be up there and it'd just be like, well, this is kind of it for tourist attractions because there's nothing really to see in London. And it's like, oh, isn't there? It's like, isn't there anything to see in London? I don't know if that's strictly true. Have you checked out the Oxo Tower? It's bloody good.
I mean, we went in the Empire State Building. We went up the Eiffel Tower, but it's like those are kind of...
Well, the Eiffel Tower
is historic. Like they weren't really built. To see things. I don't know. I just can't justify paying the price to just go sit
like
in
the Millennium. The Millennium Dome is another one. That was built like around the same time.
Yeah.
And I mean, that wasn't like see the city or anything like that. It was a flop because it was going to house the Millennium Exhibition, but it didn't really work. So now it's been turned into the O2 Arena, concert venue and whatever,
For anyone listening, apparently the Sky Garden is the absolute best way to see the skyline. We have not been up there. We've seen it in travel vloggers.
I'd go to the Sky Garden...
I don't think it costs anything.
I think it's free. Yeah. I think it's free. You just go into the Shard, and it is the Shard.
I don't think it's the Shard. No, I'm not sure.
Is it the cheese grater?
I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about when you say the cheese grater. Is the cheese grater on your list?
No, it's not actually, because it was built quite recently.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You'll have to look it up. It's the something or other Sky Garden. I do not think it's the Shard. No,
the Sky Garden. It's at the top of a building. It's not the Shard or anything.
No, I told you it wasn't the Shard.
It's in the financial district though.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it was in the Shard.
No, I know, but it's just kind of like that's kind of thing. It's a restaurant, and it's free access to the public. It's provided in 90-minute slots until 6:00.
Yeah, it's a bar and restaurant, but you don't have to order food or get a drink. I don't think. I think you can just go up and wander around. Yeah. Which is crazy. I mean, you would think that they would charge some sort of admission fee, but
It's basically
mission
just to come
fee.
up and, it occupies the 36th to 38th stories. It's at 20 Fenchurch Street in London.
Wherever that is.
So it's a building, it's called the Sky Garden, so you just go there and look and maybe eat a meal.
It's not the Shard.
It's not the Shard.
It's definitely not the Shard.
Not the Shard. Not a Shard.
Definitely not the Shard.
But the next one, that's definitely 30 St Mary Axe, which was built in 2003, but it's almost unanimously known by its nickname, the Gherkin. The Gherkin.
Yeah.
That was built on
and
the site of...
And a gherkin is another word for pickle.
Yeah, it looks like a pickle.
Yeah.
The pickle!
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the pickle. Oh, a lot of people would say it looks like something else, but, it was built on the site of the Baltic Exchange and the Chamber of Shipping, both of which suffered severe damage from the IRA bomb in 1992. And it was going to house a mammoth 1,266-foot Millennium Tower, but these plans were eventually shelved. It's just now...
What does that mean? That on the site. Oh,
the site
was going
yes,
to house.
yeah, but then
yeah.
it was built as like part of the Millennium celebration,
Yeah.
And it's the unique architecture. It's glass.
Unique, it's glass.
The Shard was built then in 2013. That's like the tallest now, I think. But then they've got the cheese grater and the walkie-talkie. They're the same kind of things. They're all like financial offices and stuff,
The Shard is like a big triangle.
It's like a big triangle. The cheese grater looks like a cheese grater.
Okay,
and the walkie-talkie looks like a massive walkie-talkie. It's just like, it's kind of oddly shaped.
What does a massive walkie-talkie look like? It's like a rectangle.
It's like a rectangle, but it's like, like if someone's like, it's got like grooves in it.
Okay.
It's like a huge groove. Yeah,
Does it look like it has an antenna?
No, it doesn't. It just...
Then it doesn't look like a walkie-talkie, does it?
Well, they can't just call it a weird box. They've got to come up with a whimsical name for it.
A CB radio kind of thing.
Yeah,
not
something.
A walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Walkie-talkies
You're
have
a walkie-talkie.
antennas. You have to adjust it to pick
Maybe
up
it does.
signal.
Maybe they will build an antenna on it.
If they're gonna call it the walkie-talkie, they dang well better.
But yes. Anyway, that's I think that's all of our London.
I think that's it, yeah.
I think that's it, all of our, the changing landscape of London. And I mean, the future, there's just going to be more glass buildings. Yeah. More tall buildings.
I kind of wish we had asked somebody in London to be on this, or we had interviewed them or something.
Yeah. Because they could tell us more about London.
Well, no.
Because I don't know anything about London, you see.
I'm more curious about the way they feel about the changing skyline, because... in the 20 however many years I've lived in Austin, this is a very different city than when I moved here because of the skyline. And just driving around, it's just not the same city. And it's kind of like it sort of makes you feel a little bit sad sometimes, just because change.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder, I would be curious to talk to somebody who's lived in London for decades or more and seen a bunch of the changes. Like, how do they feel? Do they like the changes? Or do they kind of wish, like, maybe...
Oh, it's not my London anymore.
Yeah.
Ever since they knocked down Broad Street Station, it's not been my London.
Mm-hmm. We have sort of seen, like, documentaries and stuff, though, where they do sort of express that opinion, though, don't they? Just about, like, especially East London, because it's very different from, like,
very different
when
now.
They grew up there or whatever.
Can't get a plate of jellied eels.
I guess it's probably the same everywhere, isn't it? It's just like, it doesn't feel like the same city, and you kind of wonder, like, well, you must still like it, or you would just move somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
It's kind
I mean, obviously, well, they're not going to move anywhere. They've born in London, bred in London. They're gonna die in London. It's like that's what it's
Thank
like.
Thank you very much for listening.
And it's good, because it's
good.
like
no, it's good that they're gonna die.
It's good in London. It's very good in London, because you're gonna die in London for England, you see.
Oh my God, we have to start talking. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. We have
3 lines on my shirt, innit, mate?
We have to go. we have to go. Thank you so much for listening. As always, we appreciate your support, and we will talk to you next time. Be sure to check us out on social media. We are at TButty, TEABUTTY, on
check
Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and we'll talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.